Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to J Speak. This week we're going to cover origin country and does it matter where gear is made. But let's just talk guitars and amps because I think at the end of the day, most think that if it's made in America and it's made in the UK, it's far superior to anything else made in the world. Indonesia, Mexico, Vietnam, China, etc. The list goes on because there's not a country that isn't producing something these days. I mean, being in America, obviously where I live, if you go to the store and you just start turning over labels, everything is made somewhere else because it's cheaper for companies to do that, pay for the labor, ship the items to America, and then sell them. But is something made in the UK or made in America better than Mexico or China? I don't know. I think it might be easier for companies in those countries to ship to those countries and have them made because of labor. But are they really monitoring the parts being used? I mean, I don't know. If you buy a couple Chinese-made oranges and you compare them a year apart, are they the same parts? Are they the same capacitors, wiring, pots being made from the year before? I played multiple Tiny Terrors, and they haven't sounded the same. And if it's supposed to be the same amp, what's going on there, right? But for guitars, there's a lot of custom builders out there all over the world making great stuff, not necessarily American made. And Gibson, who is probably one of the last companies to make stuff in America, is filing bankruptcy. So what does that mean? Does someone come in, buy Gibson, change in management, and keep it here in America and keep producing the guitars that have changed the lives of many musicians? Or they do what Fender does, where it's assembled in America and it's called American, but a lot of the parts are coming from, I don't know, Mexico, China, etc. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? But is that gear actually superior to the gear being made in other countries? I don't know. I mean, I've got stuff made in Indonesia, Korea, China, Mexico, and America. I don't know that I can tell you that one is better than the other. I can tell you from a Fender standpoint, playing their Mexican guitars, Japanese guitars, the finishes are different, but also the lines are different. I think they're just coating the guitars differently. So you know the difference between them if you can actually feel it. And also, you want to make it nicer if you're going to charge $2,000 for a guitar, right, than something that was like $300. So the attention to detail is there. Now with Gibson, the quality over the years has declined. I don't think that's a secret to anybody, but it's still made in America. Is the QC issue because they still handcraft everything and they need to teach someone for 2 years to bind a guitar? And if there's any changeover in the workforce, I am sure it's very difficult to get that same level of experience based on the output that they need to do for a day. At the end of the day, I would love to buy everything made in America, but that is really hard to do, as I've said. Does it make me feel better that if I want to go buy an orange amp that is still made in the UK? Yes and no. I mean, if you're going to pay for a UK made, it's basically the same as paying an American made, and you pay that custom shop type price. And maybe if you're going to spend a few $1,000s on one piece of gear, maybe you call a custom shop and you get it made instead of getting it off the rack. Now for me, does it matter? I don't know. I guess I feel better if it's made in a certain country, if I have experience with that country, and how much I want to pay for it. Now, my Supro was made in Indonesia, and so is my Squier Jazz Bass. And they're both excellent instruments, and my cheapest Gibson was more than both of them combined. Now, American labor is expensive because it's expensive to live in certain parts of this country. Now, at the end of the day, you're paying for a name on an instrument anyway, right? Does it say Gibson? Does it say Fender? Or does it say Schecter or PRS or anything like that? You're really paying for labor. It's more expensive for a United Kingdom worker and an American worker to produce instruments and these amplifiers. In other countries, the labor is much cheaper. They can sell everything made in another country at a cheaper price because of that. Are their components different? And that's kind of my question. Are they using different components when they build these things? And obviously there's different tiers, and you can get your Marshall low line stuff, a DSL line that's made in China or Vietnam or wherever it's being made now. You're going to pay those differences for the DSL line versus the 2204s or the Jubilees or whatever it is they're putting out this year. Does paying for labor mean that you're getting a better instrument? Again, I've got several pieces of gear made in other countries, and they're good. Is it pride as an American that I want to buy American? Is it pride? I think that Vox and Orange and Laney should all be made in the UK and not be made in other countries. Does it make me feel better that they're staying within their country? Does it matter to you? Let me know your thoughts, because I'm kind of curious, because nowadays it's hard to buy any piece of gear with any kind of consistency from a company. They're made everywhere. Parts are made everywhere. Does origin country matter to you? As always, thanks for watching. Many more videos to come. Don't miss one sub.